failure in this world. You must know who you are.
So here's the thing. This is the first video. I'm gonna have another video talking about Octavia E. Butler's Fledgling, which I had to read for one of my classes for the MFA program, and it was interesting, and I will talk more about that in my next video. So this video is about the MFA program. This is about what I went through. This is what I did to prep for it. This is not end all be all. Of course, this is just my experience. The fact that I have to do this disclaimer, even though I've already said this multiple times, not gonna lie, it's getting old. So, yeah, sure. So I have like journals everywhere. And so when I decided that I was going to do the MFA program, I went through my bachelor's program to make sure that all the classes I needed to take were going to help me get into the program and help me reach my end goal, which is to be a traditional fantasy writer, a published author, hopefully bestseller, but you know, hard work pays off. So here's the thing. Let's just rip this band-aid off and cut to the chase. Not everyone like goes straight out the gate into the MFA program. Some people struggle. I applied twice. The first time I applied, I asked a professor to look over my work to make sure like everything was lined up. My GPA was solid. I had a solid 2.9 at the time, which was like leaning on and off from a 3.0, so I wasn't like that 4.0 student. I was working full-time soldier, so I was making sure that my schedules lined up to where I could talk to my advisor about the MFA programs, the requirements, the types of resources that I needed to do to get my stuff together. So I ended up getting denied. And when I got denied, I didn't like cry. Well, I did cry. But I was like, okay, when's the next time I can apply? And they were like, wait, I think a semester, which was great because I had 2 more left. And so what I did was I went on YouTube and looked up Brandon Sanderson's lectures. And there are like maybe over 8 of them about world building, magic systems, everything. And I went in with an idea and a concept of a story. So like all writers, we have like all these journals and post-its and little ideas of stories we want done. So take a post-it, take whatever idea you have, and if it's complete, if it's like really rough, go for it. Take that, look at the videos, look at, I think I bought a subscription to the master classes with James Patterson, Margaret Atwood, R.L. Stein, and somebody else. I can't think of who they are, but I will have those links down below. And I studied. I went and I got books on how to like a writer's market. I got this. I shit you not, I studied on the side of my classes, on the side of working. I made sure I knew what I was doing in the craft that I wanted to go into. So writing a story, everyone's like, oh, I can write, I can write, I can write. When we look on booktube, everybody's very either really critical or very vague. That's okay. Who fucking cares? Like, either you liked it, you didn't like it. You'll give it your ratings, you'll go on Goodreads, maybe. I don't really do that. And give your review. Now, in the application process, you are, for my school, I had to do a personal statement, and then I had to do a excerpt. My excerpt I used from my last class, because my last class in my bachelor's program was story concept. So I had to create a complete story plan, which I recommend everyone do. Just really just create a story plan. I want to show you my DI. My husband made a plastic poly whiteboard thing. Unfortunately, it's melting on my wall, so it's not pretty anymore. But I have the 3-part axe, and I have everything. Like, maybe I'll show you a picture of what it used to look like, and I'm gonna blot out all my information because I don't want anyone stealing my information. I'm paranoid. Whatever. Still gonna do it. But if you're like me and you're a mix between a plotter and a pantser, so if you don't know what that is, a plotter is someone who plots the story and everything is detailed. They're organized. They're very like really into it. The plotter that I know would probably be Kat from Cat Fantastic, the booktuber. I don't really know what her channel is. It's been a while since I looked at it. But she would be considered a plotter. And then a pantser would be someone who just writes. They can sit down and just write off the fly of their pants. A pantser. So I am a mix. I am both a plotter and a pantser. So I have a very detailed outline, but I will allow things to kind of flow in and out while sticking to the outline. That's just me. Everybody's different. There are tons of quizzes to figure out which one you are. If your stories are more plot driven, go for it. If it's more character driven, go for it. A lot of people will base their writing off of their favorite authors, or they'll get inspiration. That's great, but really kind of just turn all that off and create your own world. Create your own rules, create your own people, because that's also a problem within diversity. There's no association, which for my genre is a hit or miss. Like when they describe dark-skinned people, Nubian is kind of the word that is used rather than brown skin or golden, because Caucasian people can tan, so can Hispanics and Asians and things like that. So being very specific is important, because then you can view your character and see it. Another thing I use, like religiously, I still use it, is Pinterest. I use Pinterest for like character arcs, for landscape ideas, for clothing. I suck at clothing. Thank God I made friends with Blair from Project Blair. She's awesome. So she can help me figure out clothing that works and what doesn't work, because although you want your characters to look a certain way, certain things that they are doing in the clothes are not, they don't work, you know. Another thing with the MFA is that the workload is unreal. So I'm going to step back from all readathons until my next semester. I am reading 3 books for one class, and that is, oh, I thought I had them. Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and The Art of Fiction Creative Writers with John Gardner. That's one class. My next class was Fledgling. This is also while reading short stories and articles within the class. So I'm actually pretty loaded and I don't need the extra stuff. Plus I have these 2 bookshelves that I need to get done. Like, I bought these books, I'm gonna read them, this is gonna happen. So if you're going to troll me for backing out of a readathon because I wanna get my life together, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here, I don't care. But for those who have more questions about the MFA, please put them down below, because support, I'm all here for it. Like, if you need someone, like a beta reader or something, depends. There are so many groups, and surprisingly, if you look on your, I go to school online. So if you look on your school's online thing, there are like writing workshops that dedicate to getting into the MFA, because the MFA is very cutthroat. They only allow certain people per semester to enter in, because the class sizes are like small as hell. So another thing, in the MFA, you are unconsciously doing, underneath all this workload, you're writing your book. So the book that you have excerpt or started in undergrad, I recommend you take that bad boy and use it as your grad project. Like, this is your capstone. Like, I'm gonna take out my handy dandy writer notebook that I write all of like information and taking notes on Brandon Sanderson's lectures, because they're gold, let me tell you. Even if you don't like his writing, they're gold. So for middle grade, the word count is kind of like but it's 55K. I also have it like written somewhere on here if I'm wrong. YA 75K. Fantasy, for epic fantasy, it's 120 to 150K, and these are words. Hero or Helion, heroic, can't read my handwriting. Heroic fantasy is 80 to 100K, and urban fantasy is 70K. Military sci-fi is 80 to 100K. Space soap opera, 80 to 100K. Hard science fiction, 80 to 100K. Max 200K. So when people are writing or they're doing NaNoWriMo and they set like these really, really big goals to finish a full novel, if they're doing like high fantasy, epic fantasy, they're going to burn themselves out, because that's a month and you're going to write all these words. If you know that you need to write all these words, don't recommend it. But Camp NaNoWriMo, I'm probably saying this wrong. Oh well. Camp NaNoWriMo and NaNoWriMo itself are great to do the acts. So I did Camp NaNoWriMo for June and July, I think, of last year, and I did chapters. Like, so I had, you know, my graph and my 3-part act and all the trials and the climax. For one camp, I did the first 4 chapters, which is world building and all that stuff. Highly recommend you use that, because not only are you making this a habit, but you're working on your project on top of doing your homework and checking in with your advisor and living your best life and being healthy and paying your bills and doing booktube, possibly. So I've been talking for a while, and so I'm done. To all my, I know it sounds like I'm not like all into this anymore, but I got a lot going on, so I'm not gonna be like all super bubbly and stuff. Like, I was really excited for this, and now that I'm, I guess, no longer feeling new anymore, and it's not new, now I can just, the excitement has faded, you know? So I'm not being fake, I'm just not as excited anymore. Now that I have a schedule and I know what I'm gonna do weekly, got this. So to all my closet nerds, converted nerds, recorded nerds, soon to be nerds, middle school nerds, because those are my favorite. Those are the ones that open their horizons to all the different books. I know I'm pointing at my books because I only read fantasy and fiction, but you nonfiction people understand in thrillers. You guys get it. Welcome, and let's be friends.